I mean, the Rumble is probably not going to come back on, but let's just go to the studio and see. Should be starting right now. Live. Allison, why is your video not? Why didn't your video go up? You know?
Oh, I haven't made it live yet. I'm trying to wait for a period of time where we aren't streaming.
I see. Okay, so anyway, we are live, but we're not live on Rumble. Because I'd have to go set up a Rumble.
Wow. So. We have an epic technical difficulty for you guys.
Yeah.
It's a real head scratcher this time. Go ahead.
It is.
Yeah, it's like it's a tremendous one. Okay, so tell us about this latest technical difficulty.
Well, I mean, so my internet just went kaput for a moment, which it hasn't done, to be fair to Cox Internet. It hasn't happened in a long time. And I was thinking, they seem to be getting their shit together. And then I see my modem is doing the blinkies, and I'm like, okay, I reset it, nothing happened. So I thought I'll go into my Cox app, and I go into my Cox app, and in the app you can have them reset the modem just by like using the app to do it. And when I go to do it, it tells me it's unable to reset my modem because I have violated US copyright laws. And then there's a button that says, click here to look at the violations. Because I'm like, well, what the hell did I do? And there was nothing. It didn't tell me anything. It didn't say what I did. I don't know what that is. The only thing I do here is I stream, the shows, and I stream like on the gaming channel. And so there's no, and again, they're not telling me what I did. So it's possible. I don't know how likely, because it is password protected, but it is possible that maybe someone used, and it says I have a report, so it happened once in the past, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know if that's why I lost my connection, because it's back now, and I was calling them when it got restored, but I didn't get a chance to talk to anybody. So I don't know if that's the reason, but it made it a little weird because I couldn't reboot. So I guess I'll just say that Cox done fucked up and leave it at that. So
okay, so we got hit by a stray internet provider copyright strike.
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't know that there are ISPs that really, like, I can't remember any time an ISP has accused me of violating copyright and cutting off my service. It's literally
I haven't sailed the 7 seas in a long time.
No, it's literally like the phone company saying, well, you were playing Barry Manilow while you were talking on the phone to your mom, so you violated copyright, so we're going to like disconnect your phone.
Yeah, it's a little strange. And also I don't think we've really played enough Chris Williamson stuff.
No, I don't think it's that, because it would have affected your channel, not.
Yeah, I think it would have. They would have.
No, I think it's. I think it was just a goof with Cox Internet, and the weird notice I got to call them about and straighten out. But I thought we'd do this first, so.
Okay, so let's you guys know why the stream ended so abruptly, and we don't actually have a lot of time left to continue.
Yeah, we'll just do a little bit.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit.
Tiny bit more.
So.
Tiny bit more. Let's do like 30
All right, let's play
seconds.
some more. You guys in there, right?
Yeah, I'm in there.
Yeah.
I'm not Karen is.
Scott Aronson's description of his experience, probably 15 years old now, maybe 10 years old, something like that blog post. Could you explain for the people who aren't familiar with this? And then Scott Alexander's untitled blog post after that. Could you give, I think this is really instructive. Yeah.
Do you know this one?
Yes, Scott Aronson wrote about, he's like a nerd, okay? And like a very successful nerd. And he wrote about the experience of nerdy men around women. And he was just like, no, it's like a minefield. You're always worried about how you interact with women, you know that they aren't going to like you. Even if you don't know that they aren't going to like you, the chance, like the cost of being taken the wrong way, or your, how whatever kind of advance you make being taken poorly by a woman, the cost of that is just too astronomical, too devastating to even want to try. And this is what men are going through. And then Scott, he was Star Codex, Slate Star Codex. He was the author of this very, very informative, wonderful, thoughtful blog, right? He comes from the left, but he basically said, right, because when everybody piled on Scott Aronson about this blog post that he made, here's why men don't want anything to do with women anymore, right? Nerdy men anyway. He got just absolutely eviscerated, right? And then this guy who did the Slate Star Codex blog wrote, he was basically, he said that the response to this genuine cry for help, or this genuine alert to a need or a problem, right, was so antisocial and so unjust that it could only have come from the social justice community.
Yeah.
Can I? Yeah. Go ahead, Allison. What was that?
Well, what I was going to say is that this is like this, the social justice, the woke, the feminist community. I'm gonna lay it right out there. It is antisocial. It is a manifestation of women's antisocial behavior.
I think the Slate Star Codex guy, because he's in psychiatry or psychology or something, right? Like, he's a clinician in mental health, and he said, like, I'm not going to name any names, but I had this client. He was a black man, and he worked 3 jobs, had a really hard time managing his rent, and he was just getting further and further behind, and he complained about how no matter what he does, he can't get ahead. No matter what he does, he can't even keep his head above water. No matter what he does, it's just not enough, right? Why is this so unfair?
Well, we should listen to some of this, because Bryan Caplan says he knows this guy who wrote this blog.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I wouldn't say it's hateful for you to talk that way. Like, all right. You shouldn't even, people shouldn't even hire you because you're an ungrateful employee, right? And I'm going to actually do everything in my power to blacklist you so that you'll never get hired again because you're dangerous to employers, right? Like that's he literally basically said, this is what this sounds like to me, the reaction to Scott Aronson's blog post. So, okay, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to play more of the video. Let's learn. He knows this guy, so.
Yep. For the record, so I'm good friends with Scott Aronson. I've hung out with him a lot in Texas, but I also have read the pieces. So I will claim to have some inside knowledge of the situation, although filtered through his perspective, but I trust Scott. I trust both Scotts, but I especially trust Scott Aronson, who I know well personally. So Scott Aronson did a piece for his blog, Shtetl Optimized, where he... and this is barely even a caricature of it. He said, look, I 98% agree with feminism. Like, I'm so on board. I care so much. But I just want to say one thing, which is that when I was a teenager, I was almost suicidal, or really I was suicidal because I read a lot of feminist writings when I just felt like any thought I had about women was wrong. Any attempt to go and talk to them, any attempt to go and just have some desperate, hopeless effort to go and find a girlfriend was wrong. Thought that anything that I might do or say would be harassment. And, eventually I learned better. But anyway, it'd be nice if in the midst of fighting actual injustice against women, you could just go and show a little bit of sympathy, a little bit of understanding for shy male nerds like myself, especially when they're young and they just don't have much experience and they don't understand what's going on. And then the feminist reaction to this was generally hysterical, calling him a rapist or an incipient rapist. And,
entitled.
Yes, entitled. Like, you think that you have a right to sex. And
so this is the mirror. This is the mirror that he's, and of course, I don't think Chris ever addresses that. Like, you have a guy who basically he crawls up to feminists on his hands and knees. He kisses their feet and he says, I agree with you guys so much. I care so much. Please don't kill me. And then the feminists just tear him a new asshole. And this is the mirror that we hear about.
And he was like, and I was literally suicidal as a teenager.
Yeah, they made him suicidal reading their writings.
Yeah.
Why do you expect that a group of people that is actively preventing men, some of the most vulnerable groups of men in our society, from getting the resources that they need to survive, why do you think that they're going to treat any man who has a problem with compassion?
Yeah, no, and it's like, you look at the nerds, right? And say what you want about them. They can be annoying, right? They can be boring or whatever, but they're increasingly necessary to our survival, to our continued existence. And so you have this group of people whose contributions we rely on heavily, right? And you have one of them daring to say that when I was in high school and when I was in college, right, I was being told things about myself, right, that made me feel like my mere existence was an injury to women. Right? And it took me, I almost committed suicide. I had such a hard time dealing with that, hearing that, right? And it took me forever to even get up the courage to ask a woman if she wanted to study with me or something, right? And he probably didn't ask her, she probably asked him because, female engineering students tend to do that. They tend to be like, oh, can you do my homework for me? And then at the end of the semester, they're like, oh, didn't I introduce you to my boyfriend? But Janice Fiamengo did a perfect takedown of those women, by the way, years ago. But yeah, no, every man knows this, right? That it's like, yeah, no, if you're a nerd and some woman in your class approaches you and she acts like she might be interested in you, yeah, she just wants you to do her homework for her, help her cram for the exam so she can pass, and then she's going to introduce you to her boyfriend on graduation day. But the boyfriend that she had all along. And but it's like, so the vitriol that was poured onto this poor guy. I think this even made a column, Barbara Kay column in the National Post, this incident. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Comment 437 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that vaguely. Should we play more? Play some more.
Well, let's see what else he has to say.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't say any of those things. Rather, what he said is, I pledge 98%. 98% of what you say is true, and I just have a few slight doubts, and you just be a little bit nicer. That's it. And for that, the reaction was so absurd and insane. And it is the one where you just look at that and you say, this is a cult of fanatics that he's talking about. I did get a chance actually to tell Scott, did that really make you rethink that whole 98% thing? I'm not going to repeat Scott's answer, but I definitely did hassle him about that.
Wow.
Say, how about we go down more to 5% from 98? Can we?
Yeah, how about that?
Here's the thing.
What was the 5 versus 98%?
You're asking that?
Yeah, was this clarified in their talk?
Yeah. He said in the story, he said that the guy who got attacked, who was feeling suicidal, had started his blog by saying, I agree with 98% of feminist thought.
Oh, Bryan Caplan going for the throat. Okay, yeah.
And Bryan Caplan says to him afterwards, when they're discussing it, right, that the backlash that he took, he says, well, Scott, can we now agree that maybe it's only 5%, not 98%? That you agree with? Because and I mean, you got to give everybody their due. Marxists are right some of the time, but it's like, I'm sorry, you have to well, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and then you have the facts of life. The facts of life. There's a time you gotta go and show you're growing. Now you know about the facts of life. The facts of life.
Okay, go ahead, Aronson.
I was just saying, let's listen to a bit more.
Okay, let's play some more.
Am I singing? Oh,
No.
excellent.
No,
Nobody ever wants me to sing.
That I think is the inevitable ping pong game that occurs happening. And I saw this with Melissa Carney, who came on the podcast recently. She wrote a book called The Two-Parent Privilege, How America Stopped Getting Married and Started Falling Behind, something like that. She is a policy wonk from Washington, D.C., and I tried in the episode to push her beyond just what is the data telling us to what is the implication and maybe even what is the cause of this. Give me the mechanism. Why is it the case? What is happening developmentally amongst the children? And she was very tentative, right? She's written this big book about things, but she very much kind of defined the rules of play of where she wasn't going to get out over her skis with regards to this. And I was like, that's like
hilarious.
I wish that she'd just.
Chris is right.
What?
Chris is right. Another prop to Chris, feeling less anger, more on his side.
He did start by saying this is the ping pong game, and this goes back to my problem with his approach is that he's like, yeah, incels and men and just like awkward, guys that are struggling socially. Yeah, it's tough, but don't participate by being a part of the ping pong as though you're playing ping pong against someone like the feminists are also playing ping pong. No, you have like a badminton and they have a bazooka. This is not the same. And stop claiming that it is. It's like, James Lindsay does the same thing. And I like him, but I hate that he's like, why are these people that are reacting to the Marxists they shouldn't be doing that because they're participating in the dialectic and so the spiral goes. And it's like, so it's like there's a bully, and he's beating the shit out of this kid every day, every lunch, every day. And then one day, that kid decides to fight back. One day. And then the principal comes and suspends both of them and says they're both to blame. It's just like that. It's like, if you don't want this to happen anymore, then you have to point at who is causing the problem. All through history, there have been incels. All through history, there have been men who never got married, whether they wanted to or not, never had kids, and they were basically and I'm not saying this as an insult, but genetic dead ends, or they just didn't go on, right? But society managed to function because we still valued them as they were. We didn't shit on men as a group because we needed men to feel as though their purpose in life, whether they had a family or not, whether it was by choice or not, mattered. So like a guy who, you know, like here in Virginia, there's a lot of people who work in, you know, machinery and warehouses and truck driving and this kind of stuff. There's a lot of that around here. Trains is a big business. And there's a lot of men that work here that they've been here for a long time and they're single and yet they keep getting up and going to work because here we don't shit on men for existing. So like if men are going to be a part of our society, then we have to. We don't necessarily. This is one of these like misnomers that guys like Chris who think this is a ping pong game, or like these feminists will say, "Are you saying that men need to be assigned women?" No, but like if a man is either not willing to play, which I understand, or can't for whatever reason, because there's a lot of guys here that are disabled and you know they have all these limitations because you know people don't generally abort babies when they learn they're going to have Down syndrome. They just keep them. That those men should still feel as though their life matters, and that's the thing that they're not doing. So I just gotta say that why is it now that we have this problem where there are men who are single that you know we're supposed to see them as a threat or dangerous in some way, because that's what this ping pong thing implies, when we could just like help them to find gratification in their own life so that they can still do something that makes them happy, be productive, and not worry about like, you know, what shitting on men as like an identity.
Okay, I'm going to add to that. And this is something I talked about on the Patreon Discord, and if you want to take part, it's badgernation.online. There seems to be that when we get to a state like this where pair bonding is basically broken down entirely and men's identity is, let's be honest, our society has decided it does not want to offer men a unique positive identity. It doesn't want to embrace men's desire to gain a pro-social identity through contributing to it, because that's usually how societies function.
Yeah, but when men do contribute to it, they're just stealing status and income from more deserving women. Yeah.
Now, there's no way for men to participate in our society and be recognized as developing a unique masculine identity that is pro-social and beneficial. So a unique value proposition as a man. There's no way. Our society has decided that that's taking away from women and refuses to do it. Okay, when this happens, when societies break down and no longer offer a pro-social identity for men, and not just the Sultan, not just the warlord, not just Alexander the Conqueror, but the average dude, how he contributes and becomes more recognized as having respect and a sense of value from the people around him, that he's contributing to that, and in so doing, he's building a unique masculine identity for himself. When we get into this stage of societal destruction, which is I honestly think what it is, there seems to be two ways that men go. Okay? Either they go the route of the sea people, or the Mongol hordes, or the Vikings, or they go the route of founding Rome. Right? And I think that we're at that choice. Like we're in a position where we can have one or the other. So when we talk about this being a problem, it's not just a problem that, all of these unattached young men are going to rise up, and it could also be actually a profoundly beneficial thing. Like it could be the start of something very great. It all depends on if we want to continue to exclude men and treat them as expendable and give them no identity, so no value, in which case they start to think, well, the way that I get value is I sell drugs on the street and kill everybody who insults me, every man who insults me, or if I go and I sail down the Volga and start killing, fishermen and taking them captive as slaves, or I attack Ugrit and steal all their clay tablets, whatever. This is the question. Are we prepared to recognize that it is our fault if men become the sea people? Like at that point, if you totally exclude generation after generation after generation of young men from gaining a positive identity through participation in your society, and you basically hand them the big bag of fuck all and fuck off.
Yeah.
Do you really think that you have the moral grounds to judge them when they finally do and they realize, oh, hey, I rather like your houses and your big screen TVs and all of this other stuff. I think I'm going to grab it for myself. You know, like, can you really blame them when they stop playing by the rules that basically say that they're worthless? Like you have said, you're not part of our society. Well, it's entirely possible that when you tell generation upon generation upon generation of young men that they are not part of your society, they will start to think that they are not part of your society, and then they will start to act like they are not part of your society, that they don't get any value, any moral value from you. That's a bad situation to be in. But here's the alternative. Let's fix this. Like this is what's so infuriating about this. It's like looking at an entire society trying to push through the pull door. You know, the door says pull. Yeah. And the entire society is trying to push through it. Like it's just like, and you're like, well, you know, you could pull. No, that's misogyny. Pulling is misogyny, but it's like, you're not going to get through that door if you keep pushing it, you know, and nobody wants to be corrected. And everybody's like, okay, well, when we push the bottom of the door, it doesn't work. That must be part of the problem. So let's push the top of the door. Wait, we need to get more evidence. Let's push the middle of the door. Let's push the top left corner of the door. And this is what I'm seeing. All of the YouTubers, and I think that this may be what Chris is starting to dawn on. Everybody is identifying the problem. Everybody's saying, it's something about how we keep pushing this door that there's a problem. You know, there's something about that. That's that, you know, we keep pushing it. It's not working. But, you know, we've tried pushing every single inch.
The door won't open. The door won't open.
It's just not working. Well, let's try pushing again. Oh, well, it's still not working. Maybe there's a certain amount of times we need to push. Maybe there's a certain number of people who need to be pushing on the door. Maybe there's a certain diversity of the people pushing on the door, and that'll make it work. And it's like, no, you need to pull the door. That's it. And this is what I'm seeing. It's everybody's identifying the problem. Everybody, over and over and over, not even identifying the problem.
Well, they're noticing the symptoms.
They're noticing the symptoms.
They aren't coming to the proper diagnosis, which is it's a pull door, not a push door.
Pull door. You need to, and this is for young men and young women. You need to give young men a pro-social way of engaging in with society and building an identity of merit that works and recognizes that young men have something unique to give the world. Period. That is the pull. That is pulling. Pro-male is pulling the door. And watching this process is the most frustrating thing I have ever.
Oh God, yeah, no, it's
like, you just need to pull. You just need to pull, and they listen for a single second, and they're like, but how is pulling pushing? It's like, well, it's not. Well, then why would we do it? Why would we pull? I'm like, what?
Oh my God,
what you need to do, but it's not pushing. How dare you hate women? And it's like, good Lord. Humans, it's just so easy.
Yeah.
And this is like, it's like watching the human race fuck themselves because they cannot pull a push door.
I can tell Chris Williamson exactly why children of single mothers don't do well. I can tell you exactly why. Right? Like, this is not news. This is like information that's been out there forever, and he's complaining. Well, this woman who's complaining about it, who's complaining about father absence, you know, actually creating children that are less likely to succeed in life. They're handicapped in certain ways. They have certain social maladies and all of this, right? She doesn't want to. She just wants to talk about the data. She doesn't want to talk about the causes. I could tell him the causes. And I'm not
having. All the problems that we're having because we can't get through the door, Karen. We just can't get through the door. We just want to talk about
No, we just need to push that door a little harder.
And talk about the problems. Talk about the problems that, like it's getting congested. We can't get food. We can't get into the warmth of the house. All of these problems. We need to talk about the problems, about why we can't get that door open.
Well, we need to complain about the problems and then, but not look at what's causing them. And but it's my explanation of why fatherless children have problems. We'll wait for another day because it is coming up on the top of the hour and I have to go.
Yes, and I have to do some thank yous, and also we need to clear the table for Hannah's show. Give her time to set everything
let's
up.
finish
So,
up.
Unfortunately, we had some terminal technical difficulties. I will give a couple thank yous and remind everyone that we have 1 day left. So if you're going to help out, now is the time. Now is the time when the $5, the $10, the $25, the $50, all of that really helps. And I know it's the holidays, so it's going a little slow, but please do help so we can continue to talk about how society needs to if the door says pull, we need to pull the door. We can't just keep pushing and complaining about the fact that we can't open the door. That doesn't produce anything of worth. And it doesn't solve the problem. We need to pull the door open. We need to have an identity of responsibility for women, and we need to recognize the unique value that young men give to the world. Right? That's it. It's a pull door. We gotta pull it. That's it. And we gotta stop. We gotta stop creating these ridiculous mental acrobatics to justify why it's unacceptable that the door is not a push door. That's the other thing. It's like it's really funny because if it was a person with like an 85 IQ that went up to the door and the door didn't open when they pushed it, they probably would be smart enough to pull it. But you have people with IQs of, 120, 130, whatever, high IQs. They get up to the door, they push it, and then they sit down and construct an entire explanation for why the door didn't open when it was pushed because it is a misogynist door. Have you noticed that? Like they construct an entire world where they don't have to question the philosophy that they've brought to the door. And thus, they never get through the door. Ever. It doesn't require a lot of intelligence to understand this. It doesn't require a lot of intelligence to understand anything that we talk about here. Sometimes it requires some intelligence to follow me because I'm crazy. But, that can't be helped. Anyway, if you want to advocate for pulling doors that say pull, please help us at feedthebadger.com/support. And again, we only have 1 day left, so it's really critical. If you are going to help, do it now. Please. Please. All right, so that maybe one day we can walk up to the door and pull it open.
Pull the damn door!
When the world will breathe a sigh of relief. So feedthebadger.com/support. Go there and help out. All right, back to you, Brian.
Well, do you have thank yous or no? That's probably you didn't do them if you did.
Oh, sorry, guys. All right. First of all, I want to give a.
Well, Karen, you should just go. Go, Karen. We'll take care of it. We're finishing up here. Just do the thank yous.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to give a really big thank you to a very new supporter, Kagayaki, I think Kagayaki, who gave us 1,000. Thank you, Kagayaki.
Wow, thank you so much. Hold on, I got something for that.
Good news, everyone.
And is a new one. And then $100 from Hyper Chicken. This is older stuff, so it's not.
It's still gonna get some sounds though.
I'm sorry that people are so jealous of me.
but I can't help it that I'm popular.
Okay, and thank you to Hyper Chicken for $100. Thank you.
You're breathtaking.
Thank you to French Honey Badger for $250. Thank you.
Hey, who's that handsome guy?
And Machine for $1,000. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
And today, really big thanks to Timothy W for $30. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
And Meredith for another $100. So thank you so much, Meredith.
Spoon is too big.
That's a good one. All right. Thank you to everybody who supported so far. Please do, if you're going to support, now is the time. 1 day left. And we will be picking up the stream again tomorrow. Hopefully there will be no strange flying copyright strikes to take us out. And we'll be able to actually give you less chopped up content. So, till then. Till then. Back to you, Brian.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we talked about on the show today. Apologize for the technical problems. I don't know what that was about, but seems like everything worked out. I even saw that Rumble just picked up from where it left off, which is amazing because I was like out for like a couple minutes. So anyway, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of the Rantzerker, and we'll talk to you all in the next one, which is tomorrow.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.